AEW have signed one of the biggest deals in the history of the company. WWE have announced a commentary team shakeup, and we've got a little update on the return of Miro. It's time for the news. So if you were watching the 0 hour pre-show, which was 2 hours on Sunday night, you will have seen that it was announced that Swerve Strickland has signed a new deal with the promotion. He initially signed with AEW all the way back in March of 2022. He has very much risen up the card since that time, becoming world champion, really great run, and then obviously dropping it to Bryan Danielson on Sunday night. Bit of an update from Sean Ross Sapp on this one.
Yes, he tweeted, Swerve Strickland's new contract with AEW is a multi-year deal that will keep him with the company until at least 2028, though the exact duration is unknown. It was confirmed to Fightful Select that this deal is considered one of the biggest deals in the history of the company.
Buzzing for him.
Amazing. He has been, as you said, on a complete trajectory, just straight up. Like, he has been used so well. His growth has been immeasurable at the same time as well. He's really sort of landed into that whole main event scene so perfectly. You saw glimpses of it in NXT, but AEW have really capitalized on what Swerve Strickland does best, and he has just been incredible. And also they've treated him really well in terms of he's beaten so many former AEW champions as well. They've just continued to build him, and obviously him dropping the title there is, but to me, a footnote within the history of Swerve Strickland, which is going to be incredible.
He'll get it back at some point. He's already once again entering a very heated rivalry with Adam Hangman Page. Once again, that's going to be fantastic. I imagine we'll see that in a couple of weeks' time at All Out, that match. First off, WWE couldn't have dropped the ball more with this guy. He's somebody that I think everyone has had their eyes on, since his indie work. And the fact that they let Swerve go, idiots, absolutely foolish. And AEW have done wonders with him. You want to talk about pillars of AEW, forget the marketing bollocks, forget the original pillars and all that. Swerve is a legit pillar of the company at this point. He is fantastic. Fully expect him to be hovering around the main event scene whenever they need him to be, and I expect him to be world champion again. He's the bollocks.
He is.
Promos, in ring work, storytelling. He's amazing. He's a guy, right? You can. It depends who he's in a rivalry with. He can play face or heel without really changing his character at all, just depending on who he's feuding with.
I mean, that whole thing with Danielson, right, as well. He was very much he was kind of like an edgy face, I guess, but then going into this, he's very much doing the heel stuff, but the crowd is still this is brilliant.
When somebody's that talented, we were talking about Kevin Owens previously. It's like when Kevin Owens is a heel, I'm still he's really look at all the horrible things he's doing. And I feel the same with Swerve. He's just much fun to watch, isn't he? So it's great to hear that he's sticking around in AEW. WWE's lost very much AEW's gain in this case. Over to the WWE side of things, it was confirmed yesterday on Raw that announced team, the commentary team shakeup, is indeed going ahead. So this is ahead of SmackDown's move to Fox. Leaving Fox and then heading over to USA. That's happening on September 13th, and then Raw is obviously heading over to Netflix in the new year. On last night's Raw, Michael Cole was joined by Corey Graves, who's been serving as play-by-play on SmackDown, and he announced that him and Graves are officially the SmackDown commentary once it moves to USA, meaning that they're going to team up once again with Cole doing play-by-play and Graves on color. And then McAfee will supposedly return to Raw once it makes the move to Netflix. So, just to completely summarize this, because there's a lot to get your heads around, because there's a new face joining as well in Joe Tessitore. So from now until January, SmackDown team, Michael Cole, Corey Graves. Raw team, Joe and Wade Barrett. And then from January, Raw on Netflix team is going to be Cole and Pat, and then SmackDown will reportedly be Joe Tessitore, Graves and Barrett.
Makes
Everybody,
sense.
Good.
Does
that make sense?
Cole goes where the bigger stations are, I'm guessing, right?
He's the voice of WWE.
Exactly, and you want him on what would, essentially be the one that gets more eyes on it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the Joe Tessitore guy.
For
because
sure.
I don't follow any of the stuff that he's done previously, so I just sort of looked him up on YouTube, and he's proper passionate, he's proper into it, and he's a proper wrestling fan as well, which always helps, doesn't it? So it'll be exciting to see how he does. And NXT talent worked a main event taping last night.
Yes, they did. Izzy Dame had a match taped for WWE main event ahead of last night's Raw broadcast, taking on Lyra Valkyria. Obviously, Dame recently appeared in TNA Wrestling. She challenged Jordynne Grace for the Knockouts Championship in a really, really good match. We were talking before we started recording the news, but the fact that she's not been wrestling that long and she got given a match against Jordynne Grace and really held her own as well and showed what she can do. The growth for her has been tremendous in such a short amount of time. And I guess it also goes to show that WWE are putting stock in her as well. They see the potential that she's got and they really want to push her to reach that as well.
Gone are the days that a main event match, as in the TV show main event, means that you're getting called up. So don't read too much into it. But the fact that she's getting to work that in such a short space of time, she only debuted, her televised debut was on NXT Level Up, and that was July last year. She's barely been with the company for any time at all. And so the fact that she's being used in this position certainly suggests that they've got their eyes on her.
Absolutely.
And that she'll be doing big things in the future. I think she's class. Really like her stuff. Really like her stuff. An interesting one from Rikishi Fatu now, saying that Jey Uso, if he fancied it, could go to AEW. If you like stories about fathers who are pissed off that their sons aren't getting utilised properly, you're going to love this one. He was chatting away on his Over the Top podcast, and he said,
once the Money in the Bank thing didn't go through, I thought, let's see what they do now. Maybe they'll give him a shot. Maybe they'll set him up for the Intercontinental belt.
Well, he's on his way.
I think he deserves a shot at the World Championship. I'm at this point where I want to call my son, go ahead and take a break. Obviously, the writers don't know where to put you, or they can write something that is right for the character Jey Uso, the Yeet Man. What I'm saying is, make no mistake about it, I'm not in favoritism of my son. Which, right? I'm speaking about what is happening because this could be any other wrestler. What is the case? Why aren't you lighting this kid up and just letting him do his thing? I appreciate everybody. Let's hope WWE gets it together and does the right thing. He also continued to say, the kid is so good. WWE ain't the only spot. He could probably go to AEW if he wants to write his own ticket. Maybe more than what WWE is making on him. Hopefully, they turn it around and do the right thing by the Yeet Man.
Right, no disrespect to Rikishi. I really like Rikishi. He's super over. He's with WWF for the longest time, various gimmicks. Jay's doing just fine. Jay is doing just fine. He is selling merch like nobody's business right now. He's super, super over. He's just qualified in the IC tournament. He can be put into the main event slot whenever you need him. And he's a pretty believable challenger. He doesn't feel out of place there. Sure, that literally the only thing that he hasn't done really is become world champion. And the timing's not right for it, is it? You've got Cody world champ, you've got Gunther world champ. Rikishi's upset that his boy isn't the world champ, but that's literally pretty much the only thing that he hasn't done in his career.
No, and I think as well, like, granted, there's definitely been times within this main event Jey Uso run where I'm like, it would be so nice to see him with a singles championship, for sure. Like, it would be really cool to see that, but also he's, what I feel like, probably away from this IC title tournament and everything, and once that's done and dusted, I think he's about to be inserted back into one of what will be, I assume, one of the hottest storylines within the company in terms of the Bloodline 2.0 versus the original Bloodline. And how could you be disappointed in that?
He's such a featured, prominent player. You're right, the Bloodline storyline is the biggest story in wrestling of the last 20 odd years. Like, it's so huge, and he has been a real focal point of that story as well. He's doing amazing stuff, and maybe he could have picked up some singles gold, but I think he's doing just fine. No disrespect, obviously, to Rikishi. It's nice, isn't it? My dad would be saying the same thing if I were talented. We finish off with a little update on Miro. Miro has not been seen on AEW TV since the end of 2020. 2023, that all the way back at World's End in December. And after that, he returned to his home country of Bulgaria. According to a new report from PW Insider, although there's no specific return date as far as AEW TV goes, Miro's location has been confirmed and he's back in the United States. He was spotted in LA over the weekend, so he's back in the US. It's a weird one with Miro because I think a lot of us were so disappointed. You look back, Rusev Day, so massively over. And then AEW, this fresh property, was a really big signing for them. They dropped the ball in that case, didn't they? Because they didn't use Miro especially well when he came over. It's been very stop-start since then. We've not seen him in an awful long time. This is going to sound rough, right? I think AEW maybe need to cut their losses with him because the impression that I get, according to all reports and the things that I've heard Miro say as well, is that he's not happy there. He doesn't want to be there. He's probably waiting for his contract to expire. And so, I mean, do you want to invest in a guy who's not happy being there, if reports are to be believed?
It's difficult, isn't it, as well, because the more that Miro is away, the more time that AEW roster grows as well, and then spots start getting taken, and then where do you realistically slot Miro into? Now Miro can fit into you can give him something and he takes it and does something incredible with it, but realistically with how much things are growing for them as well, it's hard to see where he would fit in necessarily at the moment. Maybe that would be the best. Just go wherever you're happy, Miro. Do whatever makes you happy.
I think they messed him up from the start. I think the initial gimmick really harmed him because he was so over. People were very, very excited to see him, and then the Kip Sabian stuff, that weird thing. It was just like, that's not what we expected at all. And then it wasn't that good. He's had some decent matches.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Time will tell. We might see Miro back on our screens. We might not. Anyway, thanks very much for watching the news. I've been Adam.
I've been Andrew.
Take care.